Okay, bonjour Feast.
Bonjour.
Okay, so we're here with Dreamhack Valencia with Feast. We'll just start off before the tournament. So coming into this event, from what I remember, at the beginning of the year you had all these IEM events in a row. Then the only event I remember seeing you at was IEM Cologne.
Yeah.
And there you had a really tough group. And basically, I mean, you had MVP, Nesty, Kaz, you had a lot of players who were very big name players, and you didn't get out the group. Then we didn't really see you for a few months after that at LAN tournaments. Like, what have you been doing kind of for the last few months, and where's your form been at?
Well, when I played IEM at that moment, I just came back from holidays.
Oh, okay.
So I just thought, yeah, I think it's time to train again, and I didn't want to attend any tournaments before I get to a good level, basically.
So coming into this tournament, are you fully back into practice? Have you got everything going, or are you still warming up, or what?
I think I'm still really warming up, to be honest. Like, even though I was supposed to play just a lot more, I didn't really go as planned because I always lack motivations actually when I don't do LAN events. So it was kind of silly to think, okay, I'm going to train a lot and not go to tournaments, but I didn't get any motivation because I didn't go to tournaments. So yeah, it was just a bad idea, I think.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because usually whenever someone even has just one result, where before they were unknown and suddenly they have a good result, they decide like, I'm going to go all in, I'm going to practice 24/7, I'm going to become... And yet it seems like you kind of had your spike at the beginning, and now you're trying to find motivation already in your career. What's going on?
I think I had to do studies as well.
Okay.
So actually, when you say I had my spike, straight away I stopped playing.
Okay.
So
And did you finish studying for the year now?
Actually, I failed, but whatever. Yeah.
Okay, we won't talk about that then.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this tournament here, bearing in mind the level of how much practice you've done, what expectations did you have? Did you know you were going to make it to the playoffs?
Well, I didn't know my group until I came here, so I just didn't know anything.
You didn't have a sense or a feeling before the tournament?
No, I usually don't have any goals actually when I go to a tournament. I just try to do my best.
Okay, so in the first group, I mean, the way the groups were set up here, most people had two players that none of us know, like maybe two Spanish players or something.
Yeah.
And then there's usually two decent players, and they're the ones who get out. So you had, who was the other player in your?
Sort of.
Sort of, okay, so this Swedish Zerg. He's actually been, in the meantime, while you've been away, he's kind of been having his own spike and become like a well-known player now. How much did you know about him? Have you played him on the ladder before?
Yeah, I played him on the ladder before. I know he's like a very macro-oriented player.
How do you think the games went?
Well, first game I did like 3-base timing, which I pretty much knew was going to work, and it worked perfectly. And then after that, I really wanted to change. Like each game, I wanted to do something else because I think one of my big problems is to just be so predictable. And when I play on ladder, I basically do the same thing over and over.
Okay.
So when I go to a tournament, like right now, and I changed my build over every single game, I think it was like a good idea and played out quite nicely. But usually against Zerg, I take like, I kind of play poker against...
Okay, risky.
Yeah, because I think I need to do it in order to not be against Broodlords investors.
Okay.
Basically,
You don't want it to go late game?
Yeah, I don't want it. Okay. Because I think right now it's just you can win, it's possible, but it relies on the Zerg doing a mistake.
Okay.
And I don't want to. Just don't want to lose like that.
Where were you on the ladder last season? Where did you place?
Last season, I think I've been like in Grandmaster all the time.
Were you high?
I got first ladder at some point, but then it's not really my main focus ladder.
Because, I mean, it's interesting because when I was talking to some other players like Lucifron, sort of, they said that if you're at the top of the EU ladder, like at the moment or not so long ago, you actually end up every day playing like almost the same 4 or 5 people, like the same people. They play Happy, they play 4GG, they play all these same players over and over. Did you have this? Like if you play these players 4GG,
definitely.
sort of, you've played them a lot before?
Yeah, even like when I meet Barcode, I know like I'm gonna meet like maybe 1 or 2 players that are barcodes,
Ah, okay.
and so I actually know who they are.
Ah,
So
just from playing him so much?
So yeah, I mean, even if I don't know his name, I know his play style. You know, I know the barcode Terran that I meet plays like that. So in the end, yeah, you keep meeting the same players over and over again. But I actually think it's a good thing because there's quite a big difference, seriously, between like the very high grandmaster and I would say like the top 100 master.
Ah, okay. So after you got out of the first group, in this second group, you had Elfie, White-Ra, and then some other player we don't know the name of at the moment, unfortunately. So we'll pretend he doesn't exist. So basically you had 2 PvPs, and you had 2 guys who actually are quite well known for being good at PvP, I think. So how good going into this group did you think your own PvP was, and were you sure you were going to beat these guys?
I was confident, but I wasn't sure because PvP is still a lot of like about build orders. But yeah, I just tried to play as safe as possible, and I think it paid out. But also, I think what matters the most in PvP and actually in any matchup is to know your opponent. And like when we spoke about the ladder, you know, we keep on meeting the same players. So I actually know them very well.
Okay.
And in the end, I can almost say that when I play PvP against them, it's not as gamble as it should be if I were to meet like you know, a random player that I don't know. So yeah, I was confident.
The thing Elfie is most famous for, though, is his PvP. And people say like he's one of the most dangerous people to play as ProToss. So why were you able to beat him like this? Like what was the difference this time, do you think?
I think it's weird because I don't remember the second game, even though I just played it. But at the first game, he went for Stargate, and I kind of expected it. I went for Blink. It was really easy because, yeah, basically, it just can't win the way I did my build order. And the second game was on Ohana. Oh, and yeah, this game he went for Robo, and I went for Blink again, and I won. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about it, to be honest.
Okay. So you got out of this group. Now you're guaranteed top 16. The rest of the tournament structure, from what I read online, is like best of 3 playoffs, and then it's only best of 5 once it gets to the final. So actually, that's actually a kind of structure where if you're an underdog, you've got a better chance of going through than if it's a best of 5 and you have to, like, based on how you've played so far, how far should we set the limit for you? Where can you go with this tournament, do you think?
That's tough. Like I said, it's all about the player I'm going to meet.
Okay, well, and give me an example, like what type of a player, or even a player specifically if you want, what type of player would be a good draw for you and what would be a really bad draw?
I think Terran would be a bad draw.
Okay. Any in particular that come to mind when you say that? So TaeJa?
Actually, TaeJa, I think he's becoming a bit predictable.
Ah, okay.
Like, I know, for example, that he always goes for 6 medivacs, which is a big thing because it means that he can't really go for Viking timings.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, I think TaeJa would be okay, but any Terran I feel is dangerous because yeah, once you don't see a drop, it can.
So maybe Lucifron or someone?
Yeah, to be honest, I think I still have my chances against all of them, but
okay.
I don't think there's like really someone that I'm afraid of.
So what type of player or style
or
would be
Stefano.
good for you?
Maybe Stefano. I think
He's the only one you're afraid of?
Yeah,
Why?
Well, he's just good.
Have you ever played him offline?
Zerg, which is like these two things together, it's like crazy.
Did you ever play him offline?
Did I play him offline? Yeah, sometimes. Well, since we used to be in the same team,
Oh, sure.
we
Okay,
played a bit, but basically, recently, almost, it's been like maybe 3 months that I didn't play him.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Is there any type of player that you'd like to face? What would be the ideal matchup for you now? Is there a style of player?
I would say PvP.
Oh, okay.
Then maybe just PvC against like viOLet or something. I think it would be.
You want to play viOLet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when I lost to him at IEM, I was very, sad about the way I played because I think his PVZ is not the best. It's not his best matchup for sure.
So if we talk about other players, and while we're doing this interview, just for the viewers, like most of the other groups haven't finished, so we're not certain who's going through yet. But just based on the people we know at the moment are still in, who do you think are the favourites to win this tournament? Who in your mind would you put your money on? Give me a couple of names.
Hero, TaeJa can win it. Who else?
Stefano?
Yeah, Stefano.
Any other foreigners?
Any other foreigners? I don't think so.
Not Vortex, not Lucifron?
Maybe Lucifron. I don't think Vortex.
Okay. What do you think
Maybe
of Vortex? Have you played him on the ladder much?
Yeah, I played him, but I think it was like a month ago or something. So I used to win a few. Mostly I won.
Do you think with his big results coming top 4 IEM, coming top 2 WCS, has he overperformed? Or is he really like that good in Europe? Like is he a top 5 player in Europe?
I think tournaments are a lot about luck and brackets and so on. I don't think he's bad, if that's your question. I think he's a good player.
Sure. Okay, so any final thoughts on how the tournament's going or anything you want to tell people who are going to watch you tomorrow?
Well, yeah, cheer for me, and I hope that I'll do a good result because, as you said, it's been quite a long time since I didn't do something that good as like IEM and so on. So yeah, I just hope I'll make something good.
Bonne chance.
Thank you, merci.